Teachers, what's the worst thing that's ever happened in your classroom? A student of mine with Tourette's wouldn't stop screaming the N-word. I've been teaching for 15 years, and never had a day like this. Mike, one of my students, has Tourette's syndrome. Usually he just twitches and curses up a storm. But today, he kept blurting out the N-word. Within minutes, the whole class was tense and uncomfortable. I asked Mike to step into the hall so we could talk. But before I could escort him out, Tyrese, the only black kid in class, took matters into his own hands. Say it again, Tyrese said in an angry tone. Mike screamed the N-word again. Tyrese's face contorted with rage. But he stayed in his seat, gripping the edge of his desk, as Mike spat slurs without control. Each time Mike shouted that word, Tyrese grew angrier. His knuckles turned white, his breath coming fast and hard. The class watched on nervously, waiting for the explosion to come. Finally, Mike shrieked the N-word once too often. Tyrese bellowed in rage, launching himself out of his seat. In seconds, his punches were raining down on Mike without end. As Mike spat slurs, Tyrese beat him senseless. Blood sprayed from Mike's nose with each hit. The class erupted into chaos, students screaming or bolting from the room. Some pulled out their phones, recording the brawl while laughing hysterically. I grabbed Tyrese around the chest, dragging him off Mike with all my might. But Mike leapt up, charging at Tyrese. I threw out an arm to block him, my elbow slamming into his chest. Mike stumbled back, clutching his chest. In that moment, Tyrese broke free, lunging at Mike again. They crashed into desks, toppling to the floor in a tangle of fists. "Stop," I bellowed. "Tyrese, get off him." I seized Tyrese again, wrenching him away from Mike. In the struggle, my arm jerked as I restrained Tyrese. I felt something shift in his hand, and he howled in pain, clutching his wrist. Everything froze in that awful moment. Tyrese stared at me in shock, eyes brimming with tears. The class gazed on in stunned silence. Mike laid battered on the floor, chest heaving and nose gushing blood. I stumbled back, horrified at what just happened. "Tyrese. I'm so sorry." The nurse rushed Tyrese to the hospital. His wrist was badly sprained. Meanwhile, the principal was on the warpath. I was suspended without pay, and an assault investigation has been opened. I pleaded my case, but to no avail. Tyrese's parents are threatening to sue. My career and reputation are at stake now. How did a usual Thursday descend into such chaos? I've guided students through their troubles for years. But this time, I lost control, and everything familiar collapsed in turn.